Good evening. Welcome to the Gresham-Barlow Board of Education Special Board Work Session, Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. Called to order at 6 p.m. in the Public Safety and Schools Building. Our opening items called to order. Roll call. We have in attendance tonight Chris Howlett, Holly Riegelman, Blake Peterson, new Brenna Puderbar. And am I saying it right? Puderbar. All right. David Ligatich, Heather Coleman Cox, Dr. Sean Farens, and Dr. Tracy Klinger. Dr. Tracy Klinger. So I can see what that was. All right. And so we do have a quorum. In fact, we have a full attendance tonight. So our first item of business is to approve the meeting agenda. The meeting agenda has the oaths of office tonight, information about the Gresham Downtown Urban Renewal Plan, future board agenda topics, announcement, adjournment, and then we will go out for continuing our regular board business meeting. So is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I do have a question,
Yes,
because it's just a matter of like, what goes first?
because
Are
they've
they
already been
able-
elected.
They've
Yes.
been elected, so they're able to vote on it.
Yes.
And then they get.
Because I already asked Sarah that, yes,
Okay.
because the county has already certified the election, so they are board members. We do the final part that says you're sworn in,
Got it.
but they are able to vote on it, otherwise we would never form.
That's true.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, all right, so are you making a motion, Sean?
I make a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved by Sean, seconded by David to approve the meeting agenda as presented. Any other questions about the agenda? See none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we have that. So then the next thing up here, I'm just gonna pull this thing off of here. Is to do the oath of office. And normally, since I'm still chair, because we haven't voted the chair and thing, I would normally stand up and I would do a wonderful thing and we would do all that stuff. I did not want to stand up and have my heart thing in the picture. Holly, do you mind doing the oath of office tonight well, actually, I can do it for you. All right, so come on down, Holly Riegelman. And I will just stand and I will just be careful.
You can sit also.
Oh, it feels good to stand for a minute. All right, and then for each person, be thinking about this. Do you want to, where did you be at?
Swear or affirm?
Yes, would you like to swear or affirm?
I will affirm.
Okay. And so repeat after me. I, Holly Riegelman,
I, Holly Reagan,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and the policies of the Gresham-Barlow School District.
and the policies of the Gresham-Barlow School District.
During my term, I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
During my term, I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties
of the office of school board member to the best of my ability.
of the office of school board member to the best of my ability.
Before we do anybody else, are we supposed to do the recommended motion before that?
I don't think so. Was there a recommended?
There is a recommended.
Doesn't say that.
I think that's just the recommended.
That's-
Argument is just to administer the oath of office.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So they did that.
I didn't want it to be like
No,
not real.
yeah. No, let's do it again. All right. So next up, returning board member Blake Peterson, if you want to come up.
Don't forget to remember. it's
Yes.
Holly.
Okay, that's right. I'll go slower.
I could do
Would
the
you like
other.
to swear or affirm?
I don't care, whatever you have. next.
Okay.
We have both.
Okay, and I'm gonna transfer a tiny bit. That's fine. All right. I, Blake Peterson,
I, Blake Peterson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and the policies of the Gresham-Barlow School District.
and the policies of the Gresham-Barlow School District.
During my term,
During my term,
I will faithfully
I will faithfully
and impartially discharge the duties
and impartially discharge the duties
of the office of school board member to the best of my ability.
the office of school board member to the best of my abilities.
Right, Brenna. And are you a swear or affirm?
What did you just do?
He did,
I
he did
swore.
affirm, he
I
swore.
swore.
Make him choose. Go first.
Okay, let's go. Let's do that. So, all right. I, Brenna.
Yeah.
All right. I, Brenna Poodar, do solemnly affirm
I, Brenna Kirvad, do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and the policies
and the policies
of the Gresham-Barlow School
of
District.
the Gresham-Barlow School District.
During my term,
During my term,
I will faithfully and impartially discharge
I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of school board member
of school board member
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
And Heather Coleman Cox. And affirm or swear?
Affirm.
Affirm, all right, I'm just gonna make it, write it down. I, Heather Coleman Cox,
I, Heather Coleman Cox,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of
and
Oregon,
the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and the policies of the Gresham-Barlow School District.
and the policies of the Gresham-Barlow School District.
During my term,
During my term,
I will faithfully and impartially discharge
I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of school board member
of school board
to
member
the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Good job.
All right,
Welcome.
welcome. Welcome. And so next up is our downtown urban renewal plan discussion item. This was what got moved off of our last business meeting. We kind of ran out of time to do that. So it has Dr. Klinger and Mr. Cook presenting this. And do we have some slides or something that we're going to be doing? Or you just guys are just talking it?
Yep,
Okay.
and it's really,
It's like 97.
There's a-
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I didn't know if there was a shortened version. I did see the
I scanned it.
97.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't read it,
Yeah.
but I did. scan
Okay.
through it.
All
so,
right.
so the overview is essentially, this is our notice from the city about their desire to pursue an urban renewal plan. And the timeline for this is we have until, I believe it's July 10th to provide a letter, questions, any type of response that the board may have regarding this lengthy document. So it's really just time for us to have some discussion about things that may have surfaced for you as you reviewed the document, or questions or concerns or things we want to be sure that the city is considering as they head down this path. On page 5, it does provide a map
That's what.
of the boundary. In reviewing it and really thinking about our school facilities, our district office is in this boundary, as is Gresham High School and our property at West Gresham. I believe the rest of our properties are just outside of the boundary area. So just to have some context around that.
And it goes basically from downtown Gresham, I mean, in general sense, downtown Gresham to the Fred Meyers in the north and south from there.
Mhm.
So it was a lengthy document. I tried to kind of scan through it, but what, in layman's terms, what does this mean? Like, what are they doing? And I think it's said over 40 years,
Yeah.
30 years.
30 years.
So everybody can pitch in and help with this response, but essentially, the city would collect and take an additional portion of our local property taxes to fund some of this work. It leads to some new opportunities for the city in terms of how they partner with local business or others in terms of what this development looks like. One of the reasons that we are receiving this document is because it impacts the local revenue that the school district receives as a part of our state school fund. It does not, though, impact the total dollar amount that we get. So any additional funds that the city claims to support this work is kind of backfilled for us by the state. So we remain whole, but it is a difference in our tax structure and how we receive funds. So that's part of us receiving notice in regards to this. How did I do, John? What did you-
But physically, what changes?
allows the cities to see development within the urban renewal area. So as an example, the most recent one was the Rockwood Urban Renewal District. That was the old Fred Meyer lot, is a much narrower one. And like in a 30-year urban renewal, this is where I'll get bailed out by my
With teamwork
who are at the
here,
table.
teamwork.
You're gonna cap property taxes. So the typical 3% escalation isn't gonna happen. That, what would have been escalation is now collected into the urban renewal. For the purpose of private development. So the Rockwood Market Hall is development that was seeded by an urban renewal district.
And there are some advantages to our teaching staff, police and firefighters. Because if they are employed by the district, living in the district in that urban renewal, they could pick up HUD houses. And receive a 50%, they have to pay for it, but then over a period of time, they essentially get it for half off.
Oh.
Yeah,
The house or the taxes?
the house. In an urban renewal.
Boy, that'll help some of these kids.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
typically fire and teachers.
Well, I mean, education. staff.
Well, I mean, but I just had no idea until you said that, so that's
And
helpful.
safety, and safety, yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause,
And-
yeah, I learned about it just cause I was looking for a house, years ago. I'm like, what's the best way to do it? And I came across this program and they said it was only in urban renewal. And now, of course, it has to be a HUD house, which then has its own things or whatever, but the idea is that it would renew the neighborhood, bringing in
I think Sandy did that not too long ago. It was like 10 years ago or
you know,
so.
and you have to live there for so many years, like 5 years.
Before you can sell it.
Another example is the Vancouver waterfront. That was all part of urban renewal. So Rockwood is the nearest, I think, example.
Is there any downsides for the district? I mean, and then what is the, other than like maybe the teachers are gonna be able to get a house for cheaper, potentially, what's the upsides?
Upsides are potential safe routes to schools, sidewalks, other things that they want to put in different spots. That's an upside. Downside wise, I didn't see a great deal. We're not losing revenue. It's not really, Tracy will speak to this, there's potential for wanting to buy property and having an eminent domain. So there's some things in there that could impact us, but from an operation standpoint, I really don't see an impact for us.
I did notice some downsides. None of the money that is going to this renewal project is gonna assist any of the schools. There's nothing about Gresham-Barlow School District in this whole $132 million fund, nothing. And I think that that is concerning. And I think that we should really understand. We should send some type of response back and say, okay, what about the biggest employer in Gresham? What about the school district? What are you gonna do for schools?
Yeah,
Yeah.
advocating for some collaboration, at least with the district, yeah.
Additionally, possibly appoint someone from the school board or the superintendent to that committee while they're making all these decisions. We should have a say or be aware of what is going on and be a part of the planning.
So Dennis was on that committee and will someone else take his place on the committee? Do we know? If that was as a representative
Well-
of the district?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think in terms of creating this plan, and then from there, once this is moving, then there's a new advisory committee that will be established that helps kind of with the oversight piece.
This brings me back to a conversation we had last year. Where when the city takes money, the state gives back or what have you, but then there was.
Oh, that was the enterprise zone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there was question on, it was now gonna cost us money to manage that money.
Mhm.
Do you foresee that in this?
I honestly don't have any idea. I don't believe so. It's not us collecting funds. It's really,
Yeah,
An
I
offset from the
think
state. and
Getting
city.
them a different
Yeah.
way.
I can go
think
back and
so.
double check, but I agree with Tracy. I don't see us having that. It's not the same as the enterprise zone for sure.
I think it would affect us more if we didn't have that, was it major five or whatever back in the nineties? Obviously, that was our tax income, but now that we're offset, it doesn't really.
Right.
Agreed.
Is there any concern over a 30-year horizon that would shift? That
Right.
all of a sudden we would bear the liability for.
That's a concern that I also addressed. And I don't want us to get into a situation like Mount Hood Community College, like 30 years of not having any kind of upgrades or progress. Whether it be in technology or STEM or CTE or even just infrastructure, lights, sidewalks, crossing.
From
all
the
of that.
stairs.
Yeah. So,
And just for the record, the program I was talking about is called the Good Neighbor Next Door program. So if the public, if there's any public watching or any staff, look into that.
What action is the board going to have to take? Nothing, it's just a,
there's no action required. It's more if the board would like to provide a response before the 10th, then we would need to
that's what-
get moving. Yeah.
Okay. I think, you know, I think I'm thinking back to what you were saying. But I mean, I've expressed them for a while. I have concerns about how city transportation planning views safe routes to schools. And how, and some of that's my lack of understanding, but what I do know is like, we have our largest middle school. Has no sidewalk
Right.
within 500 feet.
Yeah.
And when that was addressed by the community, the planning department informed them, oh, that's not a priority route.
Right.
We, you know, I feel like we brought it up during the bond, where we've got system development charges hitting the transportation network. Without a plan to upgrade. I'm with you. I don't think we should be silent about the needs for safer routes. I'd love to see what. I would love district staff to interface with the city to understand what it might mean for us at West Gresham, what it might mean for us at Gresham High.
Right.
Related to, you know, what this all actually means for us. If we not being developers, what should we know as a landowner within them?
Especially thinking about West Gresham, because there's always been the ideas floated out there, like, should it be in a community center or what do we, I think we're using it appropriately now, but is there some way where we can maybe make it a community center and they give us something else in return, you know, I'm saying, like, is there some things that could happen with that?
yeah, just overall, they need to, I feel like they should include Gresham-Barlow School District, and it should be defined what they intend to do for the schools.
So, and, because I just want to have a little bit of a clarification on that, because I'm not sure if I'm hearing it. If I'm hearing what the concern is, and I will admit that after about page 50, it kind of glazed over. So thank you for reading more of it. Anything that has to do with the school function, the school size, the school capacity, that all comes back to us through bonding. So that is not something that we get. And I'm just kind of saying that for clarification, anybody else who's actually listening to the meeting on a beautiful sunny afternoon. The city does not provide money for us for our buildings. If they put in housing, if they put in residential, if they put in business, if they do something and it puts an impact on our buildings, that's on us. And so that's part of that collaboration with the city to make sure that we do tell them, hey, by the way, we're a little short on capacity on this area, or we've got lots of capacity here. And not an expectation that we can suddenly make more space in a building. West, I know everybody wants to have their hands on West, but that's still our building. We still own it and it still belongs to the community through bonding.
Maybe they'll give us the library for West.
So that's just kind of a, holding that thought as well, that I'm not sure that that's the response that we would give back to them in any way other than to have us at the table, to have the conversation so that they understand the impact that it could have on us and that we don't have a pot of money because of the Measure 5, Measure 50. We have to go out for bonding and, you brought up Mount Hood Community College, that it was a big lift for them and shouldn't have taken that long for them to be able to get bonding, but that's the environment that we're in. We've been fortunate in Gresham-Barlow that we have had successful bonds, but we also had some that didn't pass. So
Yeah,
I don't see that. Oh, sorry, dude.
No, I was gonna say, but how does that pertain to the safety of the streets and the sidewalks and stuff?
that's why I'm not quite sure.
That would
you know.
be, that'd be a pivot, wouldn't it? Because that would be
Oh.
the city.
That would be the city. So
Yeah.
safety of the sidewalks is the city,
So
safety of
we're
the
saying,
streets.
hey, we don't see anything wrong with this, but take us a little something here. Can you put in a few
Put in a
sidewalks?
bike, put in a
Right.
bike path,
Yeah.
put in.
Exactly.
You've been picking us something, it's.
It's
Kicking
gonna
it.
Please,
Yeah,
students in
if
our
you're really
city.
calling it state space, exactly,
So if
Yes,
you're-
we claim those students as ours, but.
Can-
the city
can
should
urban
claim
renewal
those
come with the
kids as
sidewalks?
theirs, too.
right,
Yeah.
Well, and
Cause there has been
Those-
deaths on Hogan, there's been,
Yep.
I mean,
yeah,
I think the question we could be asked, or that I guess I would have, is that some of those missing sidewalks aren't in this area.
Yeah.
So so then it's not necessarily
Sure.
connected
Right.
to this plan, it's more of a, hey, we'll partner with you on this, and
Yeah.
we'd like to see
except that
this.
this is a chosen boundary.
Right.
And they could choose Hogan further, like.
Right.
Hogan,
Yeah, 'cause
say,
it's all-
Palm de West.
exactly, yeah.
I mean, they're the ones choosing that boundary, so I
Right.
think it's still worth saying, like, it isn't in this, but it should be in this, because it is safe routes. to
Right.
school.
I see Travis watching us right now.
Yeah, there's just absolutely nothing about Gresham-Barlow School District in the whole entire.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because this is a
It's a
city.
city, and I understand that we get our funding, from a
From the
school
state.
fund.
The state.
From the
State.
state,
There was some specific language in there, that they were using that was vague and that, I can't pull up my presentation that I sent, to you and, because they said something about, significantly, just using words that are not 100%, right? Like that, oh, well, we didn't say it would 100% do this. We
Yeah.
said significantly, and just some other terms that leave open the door for us to not be protected.
No, I agree. And a lot of these plans are like that, where it's like, it's so great. But more specific to the most.
so is there, and I'm gonna ask Blake, you're a little bit closer to kind of the city stuff, but not, I don't want you to talk over your job. Is this something that we should at least have a statement of keep us in the loop on this, keep us in the conversation? We're not done doing this. We don't see glaring issues other than clarification of language about, are we gonna have someone that's on the committee? We had Mr. Clegg that was on the committee. Are we continuing to have
If
a
we have a
voice?
district leader,
Yeah,
the superintendent's choosing on the committee, I feel confident that the board's going to have access to the information that we need to have.
mhm,
That would be my take. I don't foresee that there'd be an issue, but this would not have an impact on our ability to bond or levy. It
no,
would not impact our total revenues or the taxable amounts.
right.
Okay.
And the fact that this is going to live longer than most of us that are here, this is gonna be, if it's a 30-year plan, it's gonna be a while, so it would be nice to have some things in place that
Yeah.
say, keep coming back to the school district about the conversation about what's going on as things change 20 years down.
30 years, 48.
Is
I could be
that,
there, I could maybe be there, well,
Uh,
30, I'll be close.
I
got a
wonder-
hip, I could be there.
Not that we ever want to go for them, because I think they're the worst things to do. But we'd be having reduced funds because of this, so maybe we better qualify for a levy. Because isn't it based on the funds versus the house value?
I don't think the taxable assessed value changes. I think it's just taxable assessed value is frozen as it relates to the urban
Yeah.
renewal
Yeah.
district. They're still gonna pay
I think that's correct.
Annually.
I think a levy would still apply to the total taxable assessed value. That's kind of what I was asking though, is.
Okay,
Because the value is still going up. You're just not necessarily paying it.
that's what I'm saying, is it would be more like, because right now we're kind of where we are supposed to be levy, or is tax value wise, but if our taxes are down here, but really they should be up here, the point of the levy is to bridge that gap. So it could be more of a opportunity to do a levy, not that we should, I hate them, I think they're short-term solutions.
Yep.
But,
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm
From a,
saying?
from a community member standpoint,
yeah,
they're not getting a special deal or a sweetheart deal on
Yeah.
the levy. They're still gonna pay based on their total.
Correct.
Yeah. I see.
In terminology, I believe levy is a short-term, 5 to 10 years, and bond can be much longer. And usually a bond is for capital things,
Capital, yeah.
physical stuff. Levy is for people.
people, which is why I don't like it, because then you have to fire the people, or not fire, but
You just have to keep going back over and
Yeah.
over again to renew it.
Yep.
So usually you do bond for capital, levy for personnel.
So back to your question,
Yeah.
Chris,
Yeah.
about should we respond?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this a bit and I wonder what message a non-response sends. And wonder about a response being an opportunity for us, just even again on a piece of paper with some key points. Gets that in front of the city council in terms of, we want a partner, we want good communication, we'd like to be on an advisory. We have questions about transportation and safe routes to schools. We're concerned about the impacts on Gresham High School and West Gresham. I mean, those sorts of summary things. It feels like it could be a missed opportunity to not just get some of those just key points on their radar, and just remind them that we're here since we are in the plan.
I think you summed it up.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
that's good. So that would be a response.
Would
that-
you want the superintendent to write that letter, or you want it to come from the board?
I think it's a district. The board can sign on to it as well, but we're saying that this is important enough for the district to be a part of this, and the board is in support of that.
Okay.
And then I would,
Share a draft.
I would encourage maybe throwing annual update to the board.
Mhm.
If there's some kind of, intergovernmental connections kind of agenda item that's standing that we can,
Okay.
this is gonna be a big deal for our community.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So are there any key points that I missed in kind of that summary?
Just summarizing in my view. What does this mean for us, kind of an advisory level? What does it mean for us as a property owner? What does it mean for us as a steward of 10,000 our community's kids? Yeah, I think there's different roles that we play in this, but it'd be nice to be at the table for all of them.
I would say just as a point, because we brought up transportation and the boundary, the. Well, maybe this is how, I would say, depending on what the development is, even by Springwater. That should be something that we talk about, Hogan and
oh,
Paul.
Yeah.
Paul Quist and all.
Quist.
Yeah, yeah.
Never remember that.
Since we know that area has had some safety
Yeah,
issues.
and it also, yeah, one side, I guess, has sidewalks.
So kind of a consider the expansion
Yeah.
of the boundary to
Because-
include.
Yeah.
it'd be great if they could expand it, like. Basically through Powell Valley Elementary School, because we need those sidewalks and
Be nice.
Mhm.
and bike path. I don't know where they put them, it's pretty narrow roadway, but
No, that's not our problem. So.
yeah.
Yeah, they
Right.
could do it, if they take the money, they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, that is a huge urban.
That's probably our most challenging area when it comes to walkers. That needs
to
to-
a long range strategy. of the cities.
A
And I
lot don't walk to Eastern, and I would say Dexter,
Long range strategy
Dexter,
for
Powell
what?
Valley.
a lot walk to Dexter.
It's not
But that's,
starting a new one, because our voters gave council empowerment to do that without. Voter referendum.
That's true.
So Tracy, who's going to follow up with the city then to do a letter with them?
I will.
You will.
I'll draft something and get it
Okay,
out for some review.
before July 10th.
Yep.
That's the date that it has to be done.
Work on
And
it tomorrow.
Sarah,
I'll watch
procedural wise, do you want us to do actually a motion to direct the superintendent to provide response to the city? Or a
That's up to the
consensus
board.
back
You
to
don't-
the superintendent?
Have to, yeah.
It just puts it in the record.
Superintendent to do
Yeah,
that,
I
but
mean, we can, as long as it's in the minutes that way. I'm just looking at what's it look like 5 years from now. You know, who's around, who's doing what, does it have more weight if we say? And if it's a motion, then do the board members' names get on there as well? If Dr. Klinger is writing the notice of superintendent and the Board of Education is in agreement with this. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out the optics of it. You know, where
Would I ever write one on behalf of the board?
I don't know. We haven't had one of these for long.
And I think the point is we want it to come across as it's on behalf of the district and on behalf of the board. So whether that means we sign the same document or whether we direct you to do one, whether we write two, one from the district and one.
I don't like the idea of writing two because we
They're
don't
gonna say
exist outside the
essentially the same.
district. Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't exist outside the district.
So is there a way in the letter, even in an opening paragraph, I could state that after discussion with the board, some key things were,
Yeah,
I think that's great. And then
Yeah,
kinda
you
do it
sign
that
it
way.
yourself, and that way there's the recognition of the board had these concerns.
right.
We have record of it.
Yeah.
In the letter, you know, probably not a need to.
Okay, that works. Just wanting to make sure again that we don't lose it.
Well, we could potentially tie this back to this meeting, whatever that letter is, we can put maybe in the consent agenda for the next, just that we've seen it. That would put it in public, put it in the next consent agenda.
Okay, that won't
So
be
the
till
consent will
August.
be till, well,
Yeah, but it would just put it in.
But
public
it would just been
record.
put it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that we've seen it.
right. Okay.
I don't
I
know.
think we got.
It would be just the minutes. It'd be just in the minutes, Holly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'll have that in there.
yeah, like it would be like a
Yeah.
committee meeting minutes, just in
Exactly.
that consent agenda
Yeah.
where it's all listed.
Yeah,
It's 130 million over 30 years.
Yeah, it's not a ton of money.
Not a lot of money.
mhm.
It's not a lot. of money. Yeah,
Okay, so is that?
we couldn't run the district for a year.
No, but I think if it does bring in the housing, it will bring in more families, which would be nice.
Mhm.
Within that also creates, I think that could be a potential. Upside is, hey, we have more students, but at the same time downside, because where are we gonna put those students?
We've got capacity right now.
Well,
I'd like to have some more.
I would say that that's one thing that we need to partner with the city on, is if they know where they're building and how many units they're approving, it would be good for us to have a heads up, because if that prompts us to have to do a
Boundary.
boundary
Review.
change, review, whatever. It would be nice to know that before we're like desperately trying to find classrooms for students.
Mhm.
Yeah, cause I know. I assume, and I could be wrong in my assumption. That Powell Valley. Bird wrestlers is gonna be overrated here pretty soon with all the new development.
In general, no. We're, if you really wanna talk, I mean, capacity wise, district wide, if you take all the facilities together, we're running about 70% capacity.
Mhm.
Powell Valley, East Oregon, Gordon Russell's down 250 students over the last 10 years and they're not gaining. We're not seeing enrollment from those new houses really at all.
Because they did include that in the
They
boundary,
did.
Okay.
and then they haven't received the students that.
And the demographic projections that we've gotten from the 10-year long-range facility planning is we're gonna continue to go down. By about 600 students. So from a capacity wise and new building wise, nobody's really projecting that we're gonna get more kids. Most of that is related to birth rates nationwide.
Are you guys seeing out where I live between 222nd, 242nd, it looks like they just sold 3 massive parcels of land to developers.
Not seeing, really, we're not seeing it in boost enrollment anywhere. And
Really?
if you take Barlow, for example, all of that new housing. All the high school's still down 250 students from what it was 7 years ago. Gordon Russell's down to 200. Powell Valley's down about 150, East Orion's down 150. We're not seeing what everybody assumed would happen with
Right.
houses. And that was projected that wouldn't happen as long as 10 years ago. We weren't gonna see enrollment from new housing.
I do remember.
well, and it was revisited when we did boundaries in
What's that?
2019.
Yes.
Like we revisited it more recently
Yeah,
than.
and Flow Analytics.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the bond, Flow Analytics did an analysis for us too, and they were right. I didn't believe them at the time, but they were correct.
Not all those houses are fully being built out there, or they're in
Well,
process.
They're in
Yeah,
process. and
process.
but they're
They're starting on.
multi-family house or whatever they're, is it
Mixed use.
mixed use?
So if you think also in the bond, we added a good number of classrooms at Gresham High School. We added 3 different elementary wings. We remodeled and added classrooms in various spaces in different buildings. So we added capacity with fewer students, and we've had close to 12,000 in the district before and fit them in. Not that we want to do that again with less capacity than we have now. We could grow about 2,000 more kids and we would still be okay.
Well, that area that they sold out by us, I think they're 1,250 to 1,500 homes.
Yeah, we'll see. And right now, I would take it with the enrollment. It would be more inexpensive for us to redraw boundaries and to build because we have the capacity.
Probably just bring back those Eastern kids that went to Damascus.
Good.
Yeah, that'd be a really simple, hey, this is where we were before.
Undo some of what we did.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring us back to the urban.
Yeah.
This thing. Tracy's gonna follow up with that. We're gonna do that. Any other final questions or comments to Dr. Klimmer about? Making sure that the board and the district are voting in on this, and I would. If they're still doing planning things and Mr. Clay was part of that, I would inquire as. Who would they like to have on that committee?
I don't know exactly what his role was, or if it was as much that he is our point of contact. This is a requirement for them
Okay,
to provide us this, so I don't know.
okay,
how
but
much-
yeah, it would be just interesting, if Dennis were still here, would he still be on the committee? Just
Right.
because Dennis is not here, does that bring in somebody new onto the
Right.
committee?
Tina's raising her hand.
What was Dennis's role?
Dennis Clegg was the finance, Director. Yeah. And did he retire, leave, go?
He moved to another district.
Move to another district, yeah,
He's
so now
not
we have
on-
Pete.
He's on the task group that's listed on page, this one. The one
Okay.
before that acknowledgement.
So he represented the finance.
Yeah, it said provided input on the development. They met 4 times, reviewed and provided input on the goals and objectives, projects and finances of this plan.
I wonder if it would be appropriate for a new CFO, since he just a same role, different person, or. I don't know what.
Yeah, so that's kind of
Yeah.
my,
Or
that's
how
my
he-
question.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
how it was chosen, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's where further conversation could happen to figure out what the best.
Yeah.
Voice is there, because it's probably less about the money and the
Yeah.
finances at that point. It's more about the programmatic impacts or the long-term planning. Which probably would be myself
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
someone who's doing partnerships or something that already has some work that they're doing at the city is kind of what comes to mind, but I think we want to explore that further.
All right,
I got it.
all right, okay, so that was our last agenda item. We will go to closing, oh, well, no, actually, we have future board agenda topics. We'll be going through more of what has either been suggested. Did we pretty much clean up all of the requests for agenda topics from last year? So clean slate, anything that comes up, there may be agenda items that come out of the board retreat that's coming up in August. But as far as I know, there aren't any current requests
The
for,
one I think there was
That I haven't added yet, but yes.
Well,
We've talked
that
about
was
it, but I haven't
grading.
officially.
but we also, there had been a request to talk through like proactive planning around an SRO,
Yes.
IGA in the event that. So I
Okay,
think we
so
can
that'll
get to
get
that
on-
in the
that'll
fall. There's
get on the
not an
spreadsheet
urgent
then.
need for it. It's
Yeah,
on.
That
yeah.
one's
okay.
on there, the
Okay.
GPA, weighted GPA is the one I need. to
Right,
add.
I know you've brought that up a couple times. We need to have a response on that. The weighted GPA and the SRO.
And we need to
Data
make sure
government.
that our new board members have access to that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
they
and the
don't.
form.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get into that at our follow-up meeting.
Okay. All right, so with that, we will, be adjourning this meeting and we'll be going out to our regular board business meeting at 7 p.m. in the council chambers of Public Safety and Schools building. And there being no other business in this work session, I will remind everyone that while we were here, we can converse and social, but we don't talk about anything that's on the agenda that's going to be out front or anything that was on the agenda during this meeting. So we are now into a social setting. And with that, I will adjourn the work session. Thank you.
Yeah.